Hello, I'm TJ Malinoski of the Missions Ministry Team, the Ministry Council of the Cumberland Presbyterian Church. It's that time to discuss session meetings and the difficulties having them. And a whoop or a holler to have a church session meeting with the ministers and elders. It's not a call made too often. Ordinarily, one tends to avoid attending a meeting like one avoids poison ivy or a wet dog. There's so many rules and regulations to keep in your head. There's always one individual who does not seem to pick up on social cues when they have been speaking too long or too many times. However, this spring has catapulted our congregations into remarkable new territory. Public worship is highly discouraged for health and safety concerns. Pastoral care and visitation are being drastically altered. Programming of the church is being reformed. In response, church members are turning to their leadership for information and direction and guidance. Much of this mentioned has probably already been determined by consensus. Responding quickly to the effects of COVID-19, Cumberland Presbyterians really do like having structure, the structure that's found in the connectional nature of the church. Why are session meetings important? Well, both ministers and elders share a special calling to care and lead the congregation that they serve. This care and leadership begins with being witnesses to the gospel and by being attentive to those who have not made a profession of faith. This calling also includes visitation and counseling, prayer, and encouraging others to participate in worship and Bible study and the witness of the gospel. While the calling remains constant, situations and circumstances both within and outside the congregation require ministers and elders to gather together as a session to examine the life and mission of the church. To meet as a session is extremely important in the current situation COVID-19 has thrusted upon us. Congregations are facing difficulties and questions that require encouragement, guidance, and communication. These difficulties and questions can best be met by the ministers and the elders coming together to make up the session to work towards the care and leading its members in the mission of the church. Here are some suggestions for church sessions to consider. Examine the current worship opportunities and determine if there are any changes needed. When should public worship resume? Will virtual and online services, mailings, and recordings continue to best serve the members? Will these current or new practices complement public worship in the future? Pentecost Sunday is May 31st. In what ways can the session lead and encourage the congregation in this upcoming celebration? The celebration of the sacraments of the Lord's Supper and baptism are corporate activities of the people's worship. What will the celebration of the sacraments look like in the coming weeks and months for the spiritual care of the members? Examine the ways visitation is currently being carried out. Could the responsibility of visitation be shared among the leadership to make phone calls, send cards, and check on the well-being of those connected to the church? What plans are in place when members become sick or when there is a death of a church member? Spring and summer months typically include many activities and service opportunities within the church. High school graduation, college graduation, mission trips, homecomings, revivals, lock-ins, youth trips, camps, vacation Bible school cookouts. What creative ways can a church still provide service, opportunities, and participate in planned yearly activities while still promoting the health and safety to its members and to the community? Biblical study and Christian education are crucial to discipleship. What books, guides, and online resources does the session recommend for individual Bible study and prayer? How can regular Bible studies at the church and Sunday school lessons, crafts, and activities be shared and used by the members of the congregation? Stewardship is the mutual sharing of all the good gifts God has given to each of us. How can the session encourage faithful stewardship through tithes and offerings? In what ways can digital and online giving help? How can denominational campaigns such as the Stott Wallace missionary offering be promoted? Or our Unite Outreach? Or Presbyterial dues? Now, by no means are these suggested topics exhaustive. The intent is for the meetings and sessions to begin and consider grappling with some ever-present and some forthcoming quandaries. Deciding on next steps will depend upon the gifts, and talents, and abilities of the leadership, and the situation and circumstances of the time. As elected and called leaders of the church, remaining in contact with the people you are serving is crucial to discover the needs, the hopes, and the longings for the congregation. Communicating the determinations and decisions of the session is crucial, not just for posterity's sake of having minutes for presbytery to review, but as a form of accountability to God and to the members. Communication keeps everyone informed of the decisions made. Publishing and posting the minutes of the session meeting in a newsletter, an email, web page keeps us connected to the life of the church and reminds us of its mission. Some sessions have already been meeting and may have already addressed many of these questions. It's always good to review and celebrate what is working and letting go of what is not. However, not all sessions have met since COVID-19 has changed the world. Sometimes it is helpful to have a starting place for a session meeting to occur. It's not often that we whoop or holler to have a church session meeting. There are times when information and direction and guidance are needed for encouragement and communication. Spring of 2020 is one of those times. Thank you.